Yo, what's up, everyone? And thanks for joining us again on the Huddle. Was it your weekly playbook? Your weekly playbook to find success in the flooring industry. And then Paul's got his own thing that he says, but we just don't want anyone to fail, man. So we do our best to talk about the issues, potential issues, and bring you education. And in hopes that you guys return the favor and educate us as well. We're not always right. We don't claim to be. So Daniel's setting up, but today's episode is about what makes a client high risk and how to find them, how to spot them.
Before you do the job, because I
Before you do
think
the job, right?
all of us have had that job where it made us look at what do we got to do different.
Where do we have to be better, and how do we minimize the risk of attracting that type of clientele? Good luck when you guys figure it all out. I can tell you that. But I think that I don't think Paul's going to be on here today, right, Daniel?
No, he's
He's got an event
hanging out with
with
the
his kids.
grandbabies.
Yeah, with the grandbabies. That's right. So uh, we're going to have to go by what Daniel and I have experienced, and maybe we get a little bit of help from the
I
audience as
know.
well.
I'm sure Rod has some insight. He's been in it for a while.
Yeah, and you can separate this thing into two different. It can be all over the board, but commercial versus residential, right? Two different walks of life, two different sets of expectations, two different types of end user. Um, One you answer directly to the homeowner, the other you have a chain of command, right? And bound by contracts on both sides. Hopefully, there's a contract involved. Um, but anyway, you know what? I'm just gonna get to it and start talking about it. The and this is gonna sound bad, and I don't mean to scare anybody away, but you can almost bank on a family member or a friend being the most high risk because their level of expectations are going to be through the roof, and that's because they know what you do, they know what you're capable of, right? And the only reason I say high risk is we've always done our best to give the best pricing that we can give for our time. Um, and sometimes that means taking away from our bottom dollar, our margins, our percentages. We sacrifice on our end to help family and friends. And with that sacrifice, um, getting rid of our cushion that helps soften the blow to some of the unforeseens. Um,
Just punchless, right?
mhm.
Jimmy says what's up on Instagram too, by the way. But it's like that they don't realize that you're giving up a lot when because typically they're asking for a deal anyways, right? Let me get that family deal, that family discount,
Yeah,
and then you give it to them, and then it's always something.
it, they just expect you to take care of things, right? And if I said that I wasn't guilty of that at some point, I'd be lying. But it's been a very long time since I've required or set some kind of level of expectation through family or friend. Now, if I hire a family or friend, I hire them and I don't haggle. I don't wheel and deal. I don't barter. The cost is the cost, and I'm willing to absorb it. If it's too much, I just say, hey, that's out of my budget. I don't try to make them backpedal on their pricing at all. I just assume that as family and friends, they're giving me the best price they possibly can. So that way they can still maintain some kind of profit. You know, they have a family and or employees that they have to take care of as well. And I get it. I understand. So I don't ever ask. Um, and if I have, I do my best not to ask. But if I have, I'm sorry, guys. Not my intention to beat you up on pricing. Um, but
Like,
hey,
yeah,
let's.
Rod says that his mom was one of the toughest to satisfy.
Oh yeah, for sure. uh, you know, you always want to do the best possible project or job or install for family and friends, right? Because not only do they have to look at it every day, but you're going to see them more often, right? So chances of them bringing something up or you going to their house and seeing something you don't like, it's like, should have done something different there.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
think we've also been in the spot too where it's like you go over there and it's like, I'm just gonna take care of that real quick. Like it bothers you, right? They
yeah,
never even said anything about it. They didn't notice, but sometimes it's like that too.
yeah. Free is the tough one to swallow. I don't mind bartering. Like, if the barter ever comes up, I don't mind doing that. Trade service for service. Um, some people have some things that they do in the trades, or you know, sometimes I just want to learn something new. Yeah, I'll come and help you if you teach me, you know, XYZ. I'll help you out, no problem. Or go hang out, throw something on the grill. Let's fix something. It doesn't always have to be floors. It can just be somebody helping. Um, the topic today is very broad, right? Like almost every topic that we have, right? We could go in a lot of different directions. Uh, being that we're primarily commercial, and that's where we kind of grew up, as in the commercial world. Uh, it's hard because it's hard to spot them because you want every client to be a good client. It's hard to spot because everybody walks the same walk, talks the same talk. If you're working for a flooring store or if you're working for a general contractor, um, I will say the days of a man's word and an agreement and a handshake, those are no longer in play. Um, it sucks to say it like that, but even if you're working with someone that you worked with 25 years ago, they work for someone now who requires a bunch of contracts and signatures and agreements, and you don't really find the high risk until you've
Until it's
already,
there. It's like the
yeah, until it's
insurance,
there,
right?
until it
You don't
hits,
need it until you need it. You don't
right?
realize it until it's there already. Jimmy says that designers are his favorite clients, but the last 2 years he cut ties with two of them because couldn't meet expectations, selling materials that could achieve what they anticipated. He just said it wasn't a good fit and moved on. And I think that's probably the best bet, right? Sometimes you just gotta, hey, I don't think we're a good fit.
You know what? And he just kind of hit that one right on the head there too. And that's if you're working with designers or you're working with a salesperson who sets an expectation that's unreachable or gives information that you wouldn't give as an installer, right? And preps the client for a top tier when they're picking something that's down here, right? I think that is that's a red flag right there to me. Someone who doesn't necessarily know the process, I would say. But if you're working with them for a while and they're adapting to what you've done, and they know what you're capable of doing and what the material limitations are, and then it does get better. So I guess that goes back to the you don't know the high risk until it hits, right? You got to give somebody a chance the way they give you a chance. Um, I'm sure that there's been multiple companies that gave us a chance and viewed us as a high risk at some point, but we're very open and we like to communicate. Uh, Probably a little too much on my end, but I don't want to be viewed as a high risk. I want to be viewed as an asset um, to those clients that are potentially high risk. It doesn't always work out that way, but we do our best to do that.
Right. Rod says that on the commercial side, he thoroughly checks customers' paying habits and financial history. And I mean, you should, especially on the commercial side, because they check your financial history too to make sure you're strong enough to even do that project. And I was just talking about this with someone the other day. and that's what they were like, man, we're basically just banks for these general contractors. They use us to float the entire project, right? They're using every um, subcontractor to float their part when they really don't necessarily have to come out of pocket for anything right away.
You know that, and that's the benefit of being the person at the top of that totem pole, helping create the contracts. Is you can write that in there. Um, that's how construction is, and I think to combat that early on when we were starting to absorb a lot more on the financial portion, we did write in our contract that we would need some sort of payment prior to, right? We didn't have the ability to absorb and float a lot of money out there for long periods of time. But we we found that being open and honest about that helped
Right.
us out a ton.
And then on the flip side, when people look at it that way, they can also say that then they can view us as a risk, right? Because
Yep.
then our financials aren't strong enough to support that project. And Rod said that bonding can offer some security,
Yeah, Kim.
but I
For whom
mean,
though? For whom?
we should probably have an entire episode just on bonding.
Yeah, we probably should, because some of it is still the progression of the bonding and all that, and who it protects and how it protects and what it evolves into is it can get confusing at times too.
But I think I watched a video the other day, and this guy was like, he compared him to a doctor, right? He said construction is the only place you'll have this when a client comes up to you and be like, "Hey, can you like lower your price if we help you out? Like if I come in and I'll do all the waterproofing, I'll get it up to a certain point, then all you got to do is come in and slap everything in and stuff like that." He said, "You don't go to a doctor and be like, "Hey, I'll handle all the sterilization. I'll bring all the scalpels and stuff. Can you guys just give me a discount if I do that?" Right? And I think that's kind of one of those red flags when clients are looking at you like that, where it's like, no, man, it's. And I think we've all been through it, where it's like you find someone that you're like, okay, well, we'll help you out a little bit, and then what ends up happening is you end up with way more work than if you would have just did everything yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody. I say no to that because we've said yes to that and it hasn't worked out, right? Because nobody's gonna get it ready the way you are. No one's gonna use the high end material or any of the prep material that you're gonna use. They don't know, they don't know, right? They're just gonna go run to big box store and buy whatever's on sale, not knowing that there's a shelf life, not knowing how to mix it, how not to mix it. Um, it's walk away, walk away when you have a chance. However, that is a good way to approach a family or a friend, right? That's a good way because then they're if they're handy and you trust them, they're able to help out a little bit. I get it, but if they're a family friend, you know if they're handy enough to do it or not. Like, nah, bro, nah, no, that's not what we
Well,
do.
that's the thing, right? It's what's up, Jorge? And before I go on, Rod does say that it bonding provides security for the client, but the bonding company holds most of the risk. But so even on some of these projects that we've been on, right? It's like you go in there and these guys are like, "Oh yeah, I'm really good. I'm the best over here." And then you follow behind them. It's like some of these flooring contractors will try and stack people, like they'll go in front of you and do the prep and all this stuff. And for the longest time, we've always been like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Like if I'm going to be touching it, I want to do the prep. And then one of these last projects that we did when we were helping someone out, it was like that. And then you go through there and I can scratch the patch off with my fingernail, and it's like they get mad. It's like, why you guys have to do so much prep, and it's like because things weren't done right the first time.
Yeah, that's it's and there's companies out there too that's how they make a living. They go in and they do the prep in front of you, and I will say that um, I know of one that does a really good job. When I say it does a good job, and I know it's the feedback that I'm getting from everyone that they do the work for, and they're constantly busy, and they're innovators in the industry too, right? And if we ever have issues, I know that I would call them for information or advice on what products, because I know that they work with everything. Um, what have you coming across, Daniel? Let's go like recently, like in the last year, right? Or 2 years, and what we've been doing um, for some of these clients. What has been, I don't want to say high risk, right? But what has cost more dollars and cents at the end of the day that we potentially eat versus um, making on some of the
It's the
projects.
changes, the changes, all the changes before anything you get anything signed. Where it's like, you'll be helping them, and then sometimes they'll be like, "Yeah, I don't have anyone else quoting it," and then you get everything ready, and then submit everything, and they're like, "Well, you're higher than this person," and it's like, "Well, you told me I was the only one for one, and then for two, is it apples to apples?" And it's really hard to even try and explain that to someone. Where I think we've had more luck lately because people kind of approach us, and is instead of them coming to us and being like they're just lower than you, they have asked me. I've had a couple of people ask me, "What do you think they're missing?" And more often than not, I'm like, "It's prep." I mean, I walk the project. I know exactly what's gonna have to go into it. Like that's why we like to go into these projects, right? But then, some of these clients they're just like, well, they're higher. What can you do for me? And then go back to your point where it's like, I already gave you my best price, man. Like if I take any more out of this thing, it's what's the point? And that's
Right.
where before we would probably be like, and I guess it depends on how hungry you are at that time, right? Because is there a give and take when you need that work? Yeah. But at the same
There,
time,
yeah.
it's sometimes it's like that's the price is the price, man. Like, but it's all those changes where, hey, quota with this material, and then you're also looking for alternates, so you're turning those in, and then they're like, well, all of this is still too much. What about this material? And they'll come back with an even more expensive material, and this is goes back to Jimmy's point, right? It's sometimes it's the designers where they have an unrealistic expectation of their client's budget. So they're pricing out what they like, and then it comes back and it's like, that's not what I thought. So it's reworking everything, and then that, and it sucks because it's projects that we've gotten to, right? Because sometimes you do have to hold people by the hand and say, "Hey, I can lead you in this direction over here." And ultimately, like, I'm glad we stuck those out because they ended up being really good clients. It's But there's some of them where you do get those red flags right away where it's like, I mean, there's been some that I've walked on, and just the amount of people there, you're like, yeah, I'm not even gonna end up bidding this. What's up, Georgie?
What's up, my peoples?
Hey, hey. I mean, see, and Jorge's got. I'm glad you joined us, brother. Um, he's probably got more experience with the face to face, and because of the residential aspect, right? Like you're 100%, not 100%, but when you spot a client that could be high risk, you're face to face more than I would be, since we sit behind a computer, right? And then we go to meetings and stuff like that. But not to say we haven't had some clients, residential or commercial, face to face, where there's like, ooh, and we have walked away.
You could tell
And
right away in the beginning. The
Well,
beginning,
it's
right when
it's usually
right
like
when
when it's like a smaller project, and then
yeah,
you price it out, and it's changes. It's like, bro, this is one room. I'm
oh,
not gonna
l-
spend two
like the one
weeks
we're on right
trying
now.
to cater you to you right now when I have so much other stuff to do. And like I used to look at things like, man, I can't believe these people aren't answering. And now I totally understand why people just stop answering, because it's like it's a time suck.
Yep.
with residential, what I've noticed, and every time I've pulled off on a job, it's not because of pricing or anything like that. As far as my labor on the material, it's more as far as like when I get there, their furniture, and you could tell like I get in there and there's a bunch of furniture. They might have high gloss floors of some sort or wood floors that they don't want scratched. And of course, it's with us, it's just a two-man team. So if I go in there and there's astronomically big pieces of furniture, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? We're probably going to have to get a moving company to come in here to do that. That way they get a bunch of guys to come in and move this piece that requires four people. A lot of people try to save money on stuff like that, and I try not to help them out in that aspect because I know that if I damage that floor or if I damage that piece of furniture, I'm gonna owe more than what the labor I'm putting into that job.
Oh yeah.
Um, so for that, I'd rather have a moving company come in and do that, which is where we're moving forward now in my business. I'm not moving any more furniture when I go to these wall-to-wall projects. Furniture has to be out of the way because I don't work in regular homes either. These are like two, three, $6 million homes, and the furnitures are antique pieces that you can't find anymore.
Right? You
That
can't
might
just
be
go
from
and replace it, and then in order to fix it, like you said, it's going to cost more. Like that one piece of furniture can cost more to fix than your entire job you just did.
Yeah, and I've had people that I go in there and the first thing they'll start like, this furniture piece and this furniture piece, and I'll have to inspect the furniture piece. And if I start seeing cracks and all this, I'm like, hey, there's already a damage on the leg. Somebody's moved this before. There's a damage right here. And when they make a big deal out of a piece of something, I'm like, all right, you got to get this moved out of here before I start working. We'll reschedule, or we're not gonna touch it. We're not gonna do the job. So that's where they're gonna end up either one, they're gonna get pissed because the job's not getting done that same day and we have to reschedule, or they're just gonna say, hey, you know what, you're right. We definitely don't want this piece damaged. Let's go ahead and get a moving company to do it. So it just, what kind of person are you working with? Are they gonna be able to understand? And that usually comes when I work with certain decorators and designers that I might tell them, hey, it's happened before where I go into a place and I'm like, hey, all this stuff before I get in here, you need to get a moving company, move it out, put it in a pod or wherever you need to put it in another space. And I'll get there and they'll say, hey, you know what? Well, we figured you could move the furniture on the day of that I'm going to do the job. And that's where I've had to say, like, one, I either move it or I don't move it. It just depends on the client, the homeowner, right? The homeowner that's going to be there. So that's just my take on it. Everybody's experience is different. You know,
It's pretty
that's one
accurate.
thing.
And Daniel had said something too right before you went in with the furniture thing about the losing on the smaller jobs. And yeah, for the commercial aspect, it is 100%. Like currently, we're currently on a project right now where I spent a lot of time and met with them multiple times to go over scheduling and phasing and all that. And they agreed. They said, okay. And now we're on phase, when I say phase, we're on area 4 of a project that would only take us like 4 days if it was empty. Right. But now we're at seven different areas, 9 days worth of work. Right. We're on the area 4, and at one out of or 3 out of 4 areas, they haven't been ready when we got there. It's like, you guys, okay, first time, okay, maybe it was an accident. Let's tarp everything up. Let's get rid of this stuff ourselves. Second time, it's almost ready, but then they shut the water off. They did, it's like, dude, what's going on? Why? I don't understand the miscommunication. So like today I got a phone call 7:15 this morning. They're not ready. Call the lady. Was like, hey, what's going on? She was like, oh yeah, I forgot to. I was like, well, hey, well, this is unacceptable. Like I'm gonna pull my guys off, right? And what's that gonna do to you? Like if you can't be ready for me, then why should I bend over backwards to make sure that we're still done at the end of the day? So that way you guys can't or aren't gonna be ready for us tomorrow. And, oh no, please don't do that. Please. I'm like, well, something's got to give. Like I'm gonna. So and I hate doing that, right? And I hate trying to pull that muscle card on there, but they fully expect us to hold up our end of the bargain while they're not holding up theirs. And unfortunately, sometimes you got to flex that muscle. And yeah, I've already donated some hours to there. Am I going to try to go after them at the end of the day? Probably not, unless they get substantial. But I just want to make it through it. And if they ever call again, now I know what to do the next time, right?
Yeah.
High risk, high reward. So,
Yeah, and communication
man,
is key at the beginning. The beginning of you inspecting the job, doing your estimation, communicating that over whatever it is that might need to be done prior to us engaging on to the project. As far as everybody communicates that, I usually don't have any problems. I'll have one job every 2 years or every 3 years that it's a little bit of something where somebody just didn't do their portion, but for the most part, as long as I communicate myself with the client and the decorators, designers, builders, everything runs smoothly, and that's what you have to do. Don't expect for the client to know these things. You gotta
oh yeah,
communicate it over to them.
yeah. Over communication. I'm really good at that, and I try to lay it out right. I have to approach it every time. Like they don't know anything about what we do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I have to approach it like that because I've done it very vaguely before, and that's the wrong approach. Um, but also the clients can be vague too, right? They cannot give you all the information, and you kind of plan according to the information you receive. And if that consistently happens with another flooring outfit or a designer, right? We tend to not entertain their projects more and more. And sorry, I can't. I'm just too busy. I can't help you out on that. And that goes for general contractors too. There's a couple general contractors that I won't work for. They have a lot of work. It's just no, I won't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. They put me in a bad spot too many times, and shame on me if I w- do that again. Not going to call them out,
Rod
but
said that he provides a pre-installed checklist for occupied spaces, and then right after that, he says doesn't always work. I mean, but at
Yeah.
least you're providing it, right? At least you have something that you can talk to them and be like, listen, guys, we gave you this list already. These things were not done prior to us being there.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna forgive him about his typos though.
yeah, yeah.
Rod, I'm not forgiving you, Rod.
Fat fingers, bro.
But yeah,
um,
it's always good to have a pre-installed checklist. That's most people that I work with in retail business, they have that. They communicate it over because, bro, I'm hard to get a hold of. You go to the back of the line, that's another 8 weeks. So,
and that's a
yeah,
great problem to have. Is that just shows how custom and personalized your work is, right? Like you are have separated yourself, and that's awesome. Congrats, brother. Um, as far as like we're required to do like pre-qualifications before we go work for these larger companies too, right? And for a while there, I was trying to design something for potential clients and like a pre-qual for a client. Um, and I don't know where I heard it or read it, but someone have said that if you put up front that estimate or consultation, right? Consultation will cost X amount of dollars, then you're kind of weeding out some of the people who are just price checking around anyway. Um, I don't know how accurate that is because we never really implemented it, right? I did try it on a couple people, and I actually got uh, a portion of the projects, I would say. So I guess it does work, right? Like I say, hey, if you pay this much money, this is what comes off of your final bill anyway. So it's as a credit. But if you are just using me to get pricing, then my time is not wasted.
It does work.
Um,
Um, I've tried it and it works. It weeds
yep,
out the people who just are price checking. Another thing is if I'm doing it through a designer or decorator, and if they're always calling to get estimates on stuff, and hence the jobs might get done, but sometimes it's stuff that's super easy, and I'm like, really, like this is a 12 by 13 room, like you could do this. I don't have to travel across town to measure this and waste gas. Some stuff's really easy, and I'm like, I'm surprised they don't take initiative and just get the tape measure and start doing it. So what I started doing is like for stuff like that, I'm gonna charge gas, a 65 buck consultation to go to the other side of town just to let them know you need a 12 by 14, and they feel a lot more comfortable. Great, I don't mind doing it, but sometimes when it's stuff that's real easy and they don't want to pay, sometimes people will say, I'm not paying 65 bucks. What I'll say is, hey, you know what? I'll take it off of the job at the end. I'll take off your pickup fee or whatever it is. That way,
yep,
I'm just trying to save money on gas and time because I don't have a lot of it these days. So any help they can give me on something easy, hey, take initiative, bust out the tape measure.
yeah, 100%. And we had a gentleman on here on one of the podcasts a while ago about an app that actually helps with some of that too, right? I think it's what Livewire, Daniel. It hasn't. It, we
Live
haven't used it yet,
switch.
or Live Switch. Yeah, sorry, Live Switch. James, that was the gentleman's name, I believe. But we haven't personally experienced it yet. But and dude, I know that we want to. It's just we have so many things going on right now that it's hard to keep adding more to the equation, not knowing exactly what the benefit is for us. But the charging for the consultation, like it did work, right? But then we had to create a lot more. There's a lot more to it than just uh, the consultation. I don't know how to automate it for what we have, and I really wish I could have figured that out, but we had other things to do, and I couldn't
Well,
spend any more time.
we're also, more focused on commercial than
Yeah,
anything, and it's someone's not gonna walk around and do an entire business. They're like us. They're like, listen, I called you because I can't do this, so just come measure this real quick so I can get on with what I'm doing.
yeah. It's all about making everyone's lives easier, right? We're trying to do it as a business. They want to do it as a client, a homeowner, business owner. I get it. Um, so back to like the actual topic on how to spot.
Well,
Um,
Jorge kind of touched on it too, right? When they're price shopping, right? Because um, you listen to some of these guys that have these huge businesses and it's usually like a GC or something, but I follow a plumber too on, social media, and he's like, man, it's the ones that are always like, how much does this cost? The ones that are always trying to spend the least give you the most headaches because they're always trying to get something for free.
for
And
free.
it's
Yeah,
and he said and it you can't look at how much money they make either, right? Because Jorge, you said you work in, $1 million houses, right? And still some of those people are trying to pinch pennies, right? But then you go to a middle class home and they're like, yeah, whatever you need. Like, you need me to do this, you need this extra, yeah, we'll get it done. And I kind of have seen that too, where it's like the higher end stuff, like they just are trying to pinch those pennies. It's like the high end stuff and then the low end stuff, and then right in the middle is where you'll find people where it's like, man, yeah, I think it's a lot of it tends to do with they're in the same boat as us, where they may end up being in a trade, and like you said earlier too, right? You're like, I'm not trying to haggle with anyone. The price is the price. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, at some point you got to be like that. Otherwise, all you're doing is creating more headaches for yourself, for whomever you're calling for the work, right? Um, the work should speak for itself, but we live in a time when dollars and cents, unfortunately, are looked at over skill set, finished product, knowledge base. Uh, it sucks, but we like to do our best to educate the client, even if they don't ask for it. Sometimes I include information that they never even asked for, just so they understand where I'm coming from and why it's included, and why I have to have that there, or why I feel I need to have it there. I know I put a lot of information on all my stuff. Daniel's like today, I had a lot of information on that one thing, but I got to try to cover all bases for a not so big project.
Yeah, tiny.
Yeah. So
But I like what Nate says here. He says a job site assessment, that's what he calls it, costs $95. And that's the
that
craziest thing is that as much as we drive in the vehicles that we drive, it's like you're not making any money on it already.
right. You know what? Let me. So I recently just did for a favor. I went and looked at a project for a company, a person that I know that I've met from FCICA. I went and looked at a project, measured it, and assessed it for them because there was some warranty claims. Um, just an assessment, and I wasn't inspecting or anything like that. Right? They just wanted to know what was going on. And he said, "Well, how much are you going to charge to do that?" I said, "Look, I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm going to go take care of it while I'm running around. I'll look at it, take some pictures, and I'll just give you some information, right? I'll save you some time and some headache, so that way you can proceed with the manufacturer, do what you got to do on your end. And I know that, whatever, buy me a dinner or something next time I see you, right? That's where I was at.
One
And
taco,
I,
a bean and
and
cheese taco.
whatever. And yeah, it's just super simple, right? Because there's a relationship outside of the business relationship. And today came in the office for an email, said, "Hey, we're just going to send you this much money. Thank you for taking care of it. Are you interested in the install if it comes back up?" Yeah, I am, and I appreciate it. I didn't expect anything out of that, but if I get paid for going and checking it out, the consultation, right, and then it comes back again for the install, then my kindness and willingness to help out was an investment. It wasn't just me wasting time. Those are the people I like to work for. Hopefully, it turns into something, and if not, it don't matter. They compensated me anyway, so didn't expect it. Not everyone's like that. Got to take some of the bad with some of the good, right? Some of the bad early on. I think one of the larger construction companies kept doing this conceptual budget, right? Can you help me with this conceptual? And I'm like, oh, this is going to turn into something great. Kept turning things around, and it just kept coming. And it's like, and then I'm looking, and all these public projects are going out elsewhere. Like I'm not even getting invited to like the final budget. You know what I mean? And this is like,
Final
hey, can
bid.
you do this? Nope. Oh, you can't? No, dude. Like, what happened to the 20 other ones I helped you on, right? Like, not even an invite to the when the project became public. Not even an invite. Can't can't use
Yeah.
my information to help you out if it's not going to turn into anything, right? Like I'm helping you with your job, but you're not helping me with my career. So it sucks to say it like that, and it sucks to sound so negative about it. But that was it. Like you have to say no at some point.
Yeah, and it happens. I've had the same issue with people who, hey, I need a measure, I need a measure, I need a measure, and then three, four of them, and then later on, hey, I need another measure. I'm like, hey, dude, what happened to this one? Oh, well, you could tell they're making something up in their head, and it's like, well, I grabbed another guy, or the homeowner used somebody else. I'm like, well, you're the one taking over the project, so you know
Yeah,
what? For this one, I'll just go ahead and let this one go. Maybe call me on the next one. I'll see what's up. And I'm 8 weeks, I'm 10 weeks, I'm 6 months out, like 6 months out, like Rollin. and they won't call you. They'll be like, all right, you keep on telling them that, they won't call you no more because they know they're like,
Correct.
oh, this dude's not telling me. He just doesn't want to do my jobs. And that's the most respectful way you could do it. Like, oh, I'm so many weeks out,
I will say
and then when
another
you call me
like
at that time, I'm another week's out.
oh,
Yeah, you should have
well,
got back with me the last time you called. Then you would have been all good, right?
Yeah.
another red flag, I will say, and we've experienced this one, and companies that we've worked for in the past, right, and decided to stop, and then we get a phone call, and they say, "Hey, I really need your help on this one. This one's got your name all over it. I don't trust anybody else, um, but can you do it for this price?" Like, no, we can't. Oh man, but I really need your help. Like I can't. I don't trust anybody else. It's like, okay, well then, if you don't
This is
trust
the price.
anybody else, then you understand that the cost is the cost. If you don't trust anybody else, don't bid on it and don't get the work. But if you are not willing to um, invest in us, then why am I going to help you out on this one if I know you're not going to call me the rest of the year for anything else? And that's a real conversation actually. And you catch people off guard, right? Like they're like I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, like Nate says right here, sometimes you have to fire the client.
Yeah,
Yep. I seen that. That's a good one right there, Nate.
And it's not even necessarily firing them, right? Because you haven't even worked with them yet in some cases. But it's like people ask us or have asked me what was like the turning point with us, right? And I was like, when we started saying no,
yeah.
like you can't be everything to everyone. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. I don't
Which
know
one's
why
that?
my computer's doing this. I keep on trying to click on something and it's not it's not
I'm
clicking
not
on
even
the
on the
right
computer. I'm
spot.
using the tablet. I'm trying to read it. It's all small print right now, but this camera and the microphone seem to work better, more consistent. So um, I'm looking at the one that Rod put. The greatest risk is not knowing all the details of what you're pricing.
That's the one that I was trying to put up and it kept on it was I clicked on it and it will go like 5 up.
So you know what, Rod? That is
And then he
words of
follows up
wisdom
with
right
this
there.
statement too.
And the reason I say words of wisdom there is and this is in our area. And when we started out, we didn't know what we were getting paid for a project when we were starting out, right? Like these work rooms wouldn't even give us a work order till the day of, and I didn't I didn't like that, but we did take it and start like that, and we accepted it, not knowing just knowing that we had some kind of we were generating revenue, whether it was profitable or not, right? Um, didn't matter. We had work on the books, and we were staying busy, and we knew that we were going to get paid at least for 90% of what was on the paperwork. A lot of these installers don't know the business part, and that's how they live, work order to work order, and they know that they have work on the books, and they might know the address of where they're going, but they don't have all the details. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
they don't find out until they go load up that morning what they're doing that day.
yeah, and that's a horrible way to be that's a horrible model for a business owner, right? 1099 independent or not, that's not a very good model. And a lot of the people who step outside of that find success a little bit quicker because they're giving themselves structure. But just so you guys know, man, like if there's a company out there that does that and they don't want to share information with you until the day of, unfortunately, that's a red flag. Even if they are a large company, that's a red flag. And the reason I say that is if you're trying to grow, they're trying to hinder that. And if they're not trying to hinder that, then you companies should listen up. Share the information. Ask them to help you with the bids if they're available, right? Ask for input on products, on adhesives that work better with certain products. That goes a lot further instead of making the installer eat it or not know. So red flag is not sharing information prior to the project starting. especially if it's a large project. Like, if I'm going to be there for a month, what other installer are you going to have on site? What's my primary objective? What are the dollars and cents that I'm looking forward to making? And what is the process of the change orders? If I hit extras, how do I make sure I'm going to get paid for the extra work that I'm going to do? That's pretty basic.
Yeah, and it's also getting back to the work order, not knowing what's going on with it. Is so you, the day you get there is counting on the person who's actually going out there to the job site and that's building that work order for you. How experienced are they? You know, like because some of these jobs might not be in town. There might not be a supply store nearby. So how much material do you have in your van? You know, by the time you get there, it's like, oh well, I'm gonna be putting carpet down on ceramic floor. I didn't bring a lot of liquid nail or whatever. However
And
you
yeah,
put it
right.
down,
And I'm an hour and a half away from anything.
Yep.
That has happened, dude. Like, that has literally happened. And that's where teaming up and making sure, like, if you start with a designer who's pretty green, or outside sales or inside sales for another company, and they're pretty green and fresh, um, as the installer, share some of your experiences with them, so that way, if they're serious about it, they will kind of put those safeguards in place. They want to be better, right? If they don't, if they don't entertain anything that you're saying, and don't want to work with you in their way, or no way, or that's not what my paper says to do, my checklist that they created, right? If they like that, you're probably not going to have a lot of great experiences. Um, Red flag, stay away, or give them a chance and see if they want to create a relationship and an understanding. Right? Let's dance. We're gonna dance, so that way we're both happy at the end of the night. We don't want to lose. I don't want you to lose, and I don't want to lose. So let's make sure that we have a, a good understanding and a level of expectations. Otherwise, it ain't gonna work. I'll do this one for you, and then I'll move on.
Yeah. By now, I've already managed to any retail store that I work. You need to send me pictures of the areas that I'm working on. You need to send me if you're building it on Measure Square, whatever you're doing. I want to see what it looks like on that. I want everything you have, material specs, pricing, how much did this cost? What kind of padding are you putting down? And Daniel's seen it because when we're sitting in the press room, you saw when they sent me in that email, right? You're like, wow, you get all that? Bro, I asked for everything. And if I don't have it, it just delays their process. So, because I'm not going to look at it and be like, whoa, you're missing this. You got to go back to that house and get this for me.
And that's
So,
why I said that, because I'm not used to other people requiring all the stuff that we usually require, right? And then once you see it, it's like, I was so happy that you did.
Yeah, 100.
so
And it's so we have a company that we've been working for a long time. I worked for them when I worked for actually the couple companies we do labor only for, that we still partner with. I've worked for them since almost day one of me being an installer, to be honest with you. Um, and the amount of details, like, at first they're like, why do you need all this information? Like, why? And they're like, you want so much. Now they understand. I get a whole breakdown, a whole list, right? And they'll say, I didn't have time to check this, or I forgot to check this. But then it's always this one is too big and there's a lot of moving parts. I would rather you just meet me on the project, and we can walk with the client and ask the questions, because I know I'm not going to get all the questions asked or answered that you typically ask. And I appreciate that 100%. Um, Sometimes it's not very convenient, but at the same time, I'd rather be inconvenienced for a couple hours before anything starts than be inconvenienced for a week or two with a crew with no work, or hitting a lot of issues that could have been prevented. That cost that cost me inconvenience money, right? Inconvenience fees for my negligence on not spending a couple hours with them prior to. So, and that goes for work for yourself too. Just spend the time. Um, if you guys are doing a vetting process, or if you're doing a vetting process on some clients, like you're advertising, right? Should advertisement be somewhat of a vetting process? Should it incorporate some of that? Um, and even if it's word of mouth, I wonder how people do that. I'm thinking outside the box here now, guys. Like I'm just trying to think of different ways to avoid the red flags and like kind of, I hate saying categorize clients, right? But essentially, everything gets categorized anyway. We get put in a category um, for based off an experience or based off what people say. So trying to find different ways to go about doing that. That's
Yeah, Nate, I
great
like to know where I'm
philosophy.
going before I get there. But
That's,
I think
hey,
to your question, like marketing could could have something to do with it because you see these companies that it's like lowest prices guaranteed and all this stuff, right? And it's they're shopping for one type of client, and it's typically the clients that we may be trying to avoid.
I will I will say
Free
we learned.
installation.
Oh
I've
my
gotten this
goodness,
one
yeah.
lifetime warranty. This is the one I've been dealing with recently. I'm like, I'm doing staircase runners, and you really, I mean, you could give a lifetime warranty on. They're doing it on installation too, but I'm like, I'm putting seagrass up there. It's gonna break down on your staircase after so many years because it's not supposed to be like, nobody's gonna warranty a staircase on carpet that I know. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple manufacturers out there, but most of the ones I know don't warranty it. So when a retail person does that, I'm like, I mean, yeah, if it's installation wise, I'll go back and repair it, but some of this stuff's gonna start breaking down in like 6 7 years, not even that, you know.
Right. It's, I think it's hard to, if I say we're give a lifetime warranty on our installs, that means that um, I have the utmost confidence in the end user or client's ability to maintain it properly,
Well,
right?
that's the
And
thing.
to
It's that's where you get into even manufacturer warranties where they will say that it's warranted, but then when you read their instructions, it's all right. Well, if you want to maintain this warranty, you have to get it cleaned every 6 months, and you have to do this every day, and you have to do this once a week, and this once a month. So there's things that fall in line for that type of stuff.
oh, you all
Definitely.
right, Jorge?
You
Yeah.
lost your video, Jorge.
So- sounds like sounds like you got a party going on over there, bro.
Oh, did your headphones die?
No, my headphones are good.
My
I'm just
headphones are about to
I
die.
have to move around.
Oh,
Well, thank you for not making me car sick. Well, I don't really know what else to ask and where to go, right? Like I want to give different scenarios, but I just, there, everybody has red flags at one point or another, and everybody that, even the people that you do work with, um, at some point have a high risk project or scenario. It doesn't always work out in your favor or their favor, but um, at the end of and I don't say at the end of the day, in a relationship, you're going to hit the high risk zones, and it's not always going to be favorable, right? But I'm going to look at one of our relationships right now is 25 years. If you look at the full 25 years, have we lost something? Yes. Have we gained more than we lost? 100%. Um, but that's the whole 25 years. You know what I mean? Uh, you just don't want to start a relationship with anyone, contractor, designer, other flooring store. You don't want to start a relationship on a high risk note because you're not going to it's going to be harder to come back from that. You're always going to have that chip on your shoulder working with them and always think that something bad's going to happen. And then that's going to be your approach. And then if that's your approach, then you're not doing anybody any favors by giving the best pricing or maybe even the best information or even the best attitude. Um, so I would say if you have a sour taste in your mouth in the beginning, something spectacular's got to happen to change that.
Yeah. If it
Um,
doesn't feel good up front, it's up to you, whether you want to take on it or not. I like sitting down with the owners of these businesses sometimes and just kind of, going over the contract and talking over just because I like for them to have an open door policy. Me go in there anytime, talk to them
mhm,
if I need something. Um, and as long as they're open, I work with those companies. If I notice something even from the top of the food chain that's not trickling right, then I don't even go into that business, and I'll tell them, hey, just lose my number because yeah, like I don't want to deal with people calling me all the time and me telling them no. So it's just like I'll just tell you no right now and just don't call me. I have too much work to be dealing with stuff like that.
yeah, I don't think anybody does. And Rod had put on there, do your gambling at the casino, and he's right. And that old saying that's been around forever, Daniel, like I don't even know where we heard it or where it came about. I just know that we repeat it quite a bit. Um, and it's I've never lost a dime on a job I didn't take, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's like, dude, that's been in the arsenal for conversations for a very long time. I have no clue where it came from. I know that everybody's heard some sort of variation of that, but so true. Um,
Yeah, Nate said that he tried selling extended warranties, but that didn't go over too well. And you see all these other service-based businesses be able to do that, right? HVAC, stuff like that. And
mhm.
it's like I don't think anyone would ever bite with flooring, but at that token, it's like if there's an issue with your flooring, it's typically not just a minor issue that you can just go in there and be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just repair this plank." Usually it's like, "Hey, will you come and take a look at this?" It's like gabbing everywhere or all these locking mechanisms are broken.
I'd like to talk to you about your carpet and LVP extended warranty. That phone call.
Hey, you know what? You just brought something up too. Is high risk doesn't always have to be a client, right? It can be a distributor too. It can be someone that's providing you with your tools, and your equipment and your product. So and it sucks that it's the end of the hour and I do got to take off because our girls have a softball
Yeah.
game that starts in 15 minutes. Um, but that's also communicate. That's where the communication thing falls into place, like you had said earlier, Jorge. If your rep is not willing to communicate with you and like, hey, sometimes we do ask a lot of our reps. I'll be honest, we do, but that holds a lot of weight when we're sharing information and when we're able to kind of submit alternates and recommend products, right? Like someone who is on our side and someone who is more than willing to help us out from a service standpoint, customer service, and answer the phone call when there's issues, right? And respond to the text message when we need an answer on something sooner than later. That that is worth its weight in gold in a rep.
Yeah. If you ensure the proper positive steps and move forward in every job and you communicate properly, um, and just talk to the people you need to talk to, make sure you get your point across up in the front, I'm sure everything will go smoothly. Just remain positive always, look at the bright side of things, and just look at everything up front and make sure it's the way you want to go. So if you do that, I'm sure everything will always flow just smoothly. It happens, man. There comes a time when stuff starts flowing real smoothly, and I can't speak for everyone, but most of the times I'm happy. I'm at the bar early, at the brewery
Just
early,
kidding. I'm
and
happy
I
when I'm
mean,
at the bar.
no, I mean, I got out early. A day and a half job. I'm out early. I picked up my work for tomorrow. I'm ready to go. I'm picking out the yarns, um, and I'm doing estimates in a little bit, and I'm good. I'm golden. So just remain positive. Let it flow. Real nice. You'll be good.
Yeah, and the more practice you get, the easier it becomes. The
Yeah.
balance. Well, guys, I think we're at the end of the podcast anyway. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So
thank you
we
everyone for
appreciate
joining.
you guys.
Yeah,
Give
thank you for all
us
the
a like.
comments. And Rod, Nate, yeah, you guys
Right.
have a lot of good insight on that too. And
Yeah,
this
they know
conversation
something.
could carry on. Yeah, they know some. Those gray
Yeah, they've
hairs
been
are
around.
are
They've been
yeah.
around.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't use just for men to hide anything, right? They wear it all out.
Mm-mm.
Look at all my grays, bro. Actually, I got some condos in here too. So
Yeah. Well, good luck to the girls on the games, boys and girls, and
Appreciate that.
hey, go Spurs, go over here! Yeah, woo!
thanks everyone.
All right.
Hey, find us on the socials, like or don't like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Find us on YouTube. I think
Everywhere.
yeah,
Tell
we're everywhere on all
everybody.
the platforms. If you like the content, please share it. If you don't like it, please share it. Tell everybody that you don't like it and share it with them.
Haters invited. Shake them off.
All right.
That
We'll
looks
see you
like
guys.
dandruff, bro. That looks like dandruff.
We'll see you guys next week.